See, project for, oh, there we go. All right, no yelling required. Hi, my name is Katie Rich. I'm the awards editor at The Ankler, and I am so excited you guys are also here for me to talk to some of the key people behind the wonderful One Battle After Another. I'm going to start with the film star, Chase Infiniti. We're also joined by Leonardo DiCaprio. Please welcome the film's casting director, Cassandra Kulukundis. And stuck in traffic, but joining, it'll be a great surprise, is Teyana Taylor. So stay tuned. We're gonna make it happen someday. You guys are still playing these movies in huge crowds, so enthusiastic months after it came out. What a thrill, amazing. Leo, if you don't mind me starting with you, you've told the story of the origin of this as you and Paul Thomas Anderson wanting to work together for a long time, finally finding this film, finally having the right time, and obviously you trust him, he's someone you've known, he's a director, everyone knows, but it is also an act of trust in saying, okay, you're going to be part of this, and I'm going to find the people who are going to form this on-screen family, and not a small task to find the actresses to play these roles. So how was that conversation with Paul, and then maybe leading to Cassandra of how she was going to pull it all together?
Well, it's very interesting. I've talked about this before with Paul, and Chase will attest to this. It never really feels like you're doing a movie when you first meet him. It's kind of a hangout. I met him in Tarzana at this strange sort of place, this restaurant that looked like it was out of The Shining. We started talking about a project. It's sort of mystical, it's ethereal, it's somewhat tangible, and then we'll meet you again 6 months later, and there'll be another conversation. So I'm thinking this, I'm thinking that. And you know, people have schedules, so you start to think about, well, is there an actual movie? And then at some point he says, here's the script. You get the script, and then there's the rest of the process was, of course, formulating and putting all the pieces together for all these characters. And you know, we spent, God, how long did we take during our audition process with you? 6 months, yeah. There were meetings, sort of workshops. He brought his camera out. We improvised together. We played father-daughter. She did some weird shaving thing with me. That was weird. But you know, Paul has been thinking about this project for almost 20 some odd years and putting the pieces together. And oftentimes, you know, movies that I love that resonate, and especially a film like this that really, you know, is so pertinent to what's going on in the world around us right now. You just appreciate the thought that's put into these projects. And this is a film that you could tell, you know, there's so many different characters, but each of them has an afterlife beyond the celluloid. You feel that they exist. You know, the smallest characters in this movie you feel are alive, and it's just a testament to how much meticulous thought Paul puts into everything. And it's as an actor, that's what you want. You know, you come prepared, you do your work, but to have a director that's thought of everything, I mean, that's a gift.
Yeah. Cassandra, I understand it's similar for you. You've worked with Paul for a very long time, and he'll come to you, he says, I have an idea, there's this one character, look for her. And it may take years before that script actually exists. So is it that similar process for you where it just takes a long time?
I get whatever he has, so it helps, because that's just also how I work. I need to hear the words, I need to know what I'm looking for. But yes, he often starts with just a vague concept, and then it's kind of like, I'll start throwing things at him, and then he's like, yeah, but, and then we'll just keep adding on. But I'm one of the first people that does see the script, and then everybody wants to know about it, because people have this idea that it's out there, and even like other crew members, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. They're like, we know you have it. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, because it's just like, we really do keep it secret as long as humanly possible, and it's not to be, it's just because it's such a work in progress, and once things get out there, they're kind of real, and it's not real until, you know, everyone comes in and we all have the same page. It's always like living and growing, and I think that's what makes it so great and why it feels so real when you watch it. Like every single person. I mean, I used to laugh because back in the early days, we would just constantly just be like, oh, it's, to the extras, be like, oh, you're great, go over here. Like everything that just wasn't right just had to keep being moving. That didn't mean they weren't right for something else, but this moment they weren't. And it's all about timing and like that synchronicity. And we started this movie a bunch of times, and it wasn't the right time. And finally this was. And if it was out there already, if people had gotten the script, whatever it was, like it would have actually maybe never happened at all. So I think everyone has to kind of let us like kind of stew, or as Teyana would say if she walks in, like let him cook. We're just gonna sit there and just let it stew for a bit, and when it's ready, we will serve it. I promise, and you will enjoy it. But like, if we didn't cook it right, you won't like it. Just so I don't know.
We'll remind her when she gets here to make sure she says that. So Chase, before you get to the father-daughter exercises and the audition process, you're meeting with Cassandra, and she's telling you who Will is. She's telling you what she needs from you. What is that process like for you when you're getting to know what this movie needs from you?
Well, I didn't meet Cassandra until I met Leo and Regina.
We talked on the phone.
Like right before I went in for my
I still can't believe that you were here. Like when I was here, you were here. I was told you were in Chicago, so I was. I would.
It was a nice
knocking
surprise.
at your door. That was really annoying to me because I love getting my hands on somebody, and I kept thinking, oh, she's in Chicago, she's in school. I don't even know. And there you were.
I was like 20 minutes away.
That being.
I was like, I'll be there. Whatever time you need me, I'll be there.
Yeah, really fast. Like you got that red eye. Yeah, well, that still annoys me, but I'll get over it.
But I didn't get to meet her until first chemistry read, actually.
Yeah.
And we did do a shaving thing, which was a little
can
weird.
you tell us more about this?
I don't know,
I think we were trying to formulate Bob's look, right?
Yeah, and you were kind of testing different things, and then at some point Paul was like, oh, just take this and just shave a bit of his mustache off, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never used like an electrical razor before. And I was like, you want me to shave his face? Are you sure? And then I made it uneven.
So everyone thought it was a joke when we were there. I videoed the whole thing, though, I have to say, because I was like, this is going to go down in some classic. But like most girls have not shaved a man's face. That's just not a thing. And like, I'm sorry, but like, and Paul was like, oh, it'll be fine.
So, Leo, for you having known who you thought Bob was going to be, when you get Chase in place and you get Teyana in place, how do they affect the way that you're going to play this character? When you have this family there, does he change for you at all?
Yeah, I think it does. I think, a big part of Paul's process is going to these very incredibly unique locations that are right around the corner. I mean, Eureka, Borrego Springs, these places that I've never been to in California, but you I went there early on with him. You start to understand the culture there. I mean, this is based on the Weather Underground, people that sort of, revolutionaries that basically scattered throughout America and kind of lived out, in the middle of nowhere. And I understood the culture when I got up north. I understood what my family dynamic would be like when we went to our house, for example. I got who Will and Bob were. I got that he was isolating himself from society, probably didn't have Wi-Fi or internet. Then we started to discuss about her having a phone and sort of rebelling against her father. But really these locations and the workshops that we did, along with a lot of other stuff that I read and films that I watched, that's what really made the character gel for me.
Yeah, I mean, the richness of this film, you've got this core family, you've got 11 core ensemble players, but people who have one line, one scene, you see them for a second, just fill out the reality of this world. And Cassandra, it's my understanding that you go to these places and you say, oh, you're a nurse in this hospital, you're gonna play a nurse in this film. How do you figure that out and figure out that people can do that and have it come through on camera the way that it does in life?
I mean, I do audition the way that I audition actors, and you have to make sure they're adjusted to the camera. Sometimes I go to their place, sometimes they come to mine. It just depends on scheduling. But I give them a real good idea of what it's going to be like, and then I tell them, whatever you do, never look at this camera, no matter where I put it, no matter how close they come to you, like, do not look at this camera. And a lot of them can't do that, so you're like, you're out, sadly. But a lot of them are just so good, and they just know what they're doing, and that's their job. And sometimes with this film especially, depending on where we were, I would read actors for the role. I would find people who had stopped acting and started doing something else, other forms of sort of performance, and then other times the real people, and sometimes we weren't sure which we were going to do and where it was going to be, and like we really did go for the best person for the role. And when we were on the road, a lot of the times you just have to get what you find, and we started doing that really early on with me and Paul in our history. And I feel like this time, for whatever reasons, it all came together really, really nicely. So like I like to laugh, like it took us 10 movies, but we figured it out now.
It's incredibly exciting it's a testament to what great work you did, because to be able to work with these non-actors, what's fascinating is you kind of become a leader with them. You try to, make them explain what the scene is. It becomes more clear to you, but we're working with real corrections officers, real nurses, real people that work for ICE. You start to understand what they would and wouldn't do, most importantly, for their job. You know what I mean? Well, I would not do this. So you start to work the scene around that, and it just brings this almost docudrama sort of life to it that just feels real. And Paul, I feel like he loves this organized chaos. I mean, one of the first couple weeks, we were in a real functioning grocery store that he kept open. People are, I'm doing this close up and people are snapping, shots on their phone. Like Paul, yeah, don't worry, they'll get over it. And new customers kept coming in and we just kept filming there all day. But he loves the idea of spontaneity and the fact that anything could happen at any given moment. He loves that energy, which is exciting and thrilling, and it's an adrenaline rush.
You feel like Paul just kind of wants to mess with you just to see if you can make it through?
He just doesn't want things to be, I feel, too scripted or thought out, or have, people there that are acting, essentially.
I mean, there's an awkwardness that happens with the real person who doesn't know what to do other than say what is coming to their mind, and there's
Ladies and gentlemen, Tay in the house.
Everybody.
We all know traffic's no joke. No?
Sorry, you guys, I'm in culinary school. I was in there making a Cuban sandwich. It's like literally like cooking right now. So like soon as this is done, I'm gonna rush back. Sorry.
Don't let it burn. Cassandra, did you want to finish what you were?
I'm good.
Yeah. Well, Teyana, we'll jump straight to you. Since we were talking about, you signed on to a movie and then you realize you have to build a family out of this. And not just a family, but a character out of Perfidia Beverly Hills is completely unforgettable. So not just taking on the role of becoming this character, but knowing to fit in with these guys. How did you take that on? How did you know that you guys could form that family unit? Even though we never really quite see it as a family unit, but we feel it.
That's a good question. I mean, I think you see even from the beginning that, Perfidia had, her issues with her, but she always loved her some ghetto Pat. Perfidia loved her some ghetto Pat, and I think that that was there, and I think with Perfidia, as her mom said, Perfidia is from a long line of revolutionaries, so I think that is instilled in her. It's a part of her identity. And I think as much as she loved Ghetto Pat, she loves the revolution more, and I think once she got pregnant, it became a thing of like, do I run? Do I stay? Do I want to play house with a person that I feel ignored by? I think it was something that was new for her, and she just wasn't ready for that, so she had to do what she had to do.
Yeah. So, Chase, in addition to all the aspects of Will, of the the physicality, the challenge of this character, how do you think of playing part of a family unit? Of you guys have time to build this father-daughter stuff, but it's Perfidia is such a big part of it too. How did you take that as part of your performance?
Well, especially with stuff with Perfidia, I didn't get to meet Teyana until about halfway through, and immediately we clicked and kind of wrapped each other in a hug. But a lot of the earlier stuff that we were shooting, I hadn't met her, and so I was asking Leo what she was like, and I was asking Paul what she was like, and what she was doing with Perfidia, and I kind of really leaned into the longing of wanting to meet Teyana and use that with Willa and Perfidia. So that was how I kind of connected the two of them, and then we had a lot of time to work on Bob and Willa's dynamic, so that felt really natural on day one, which I feel very fortunate for too.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask you about what we were talking about earlier with the amount of people who come into the ensemble and who you might not expect to be able to kind of kill a scene like that. Was there anyone for you that really helped that in this vast tapestry that Cassie interacted with, who you kind of got to bounce off of in a really special way?
There's so many.
Yeah.
Like, I think that one that was very distinctive in my mind was getting to meet Willa's friends for the first time, because that was the first group of people that I met who were in the film that was not Leo. And I was like, oh my gosh, somebody else in the world, this is so cool. So that was a memorable one.
Yeah. It's kind of how Willa feels, right? Having her own friends go out there. And Teyana, we're talking about the way that, Paul will fill this world and Cassandra fills this world with people who are faces you've never seen before and kind of makes everything feel so very lived in. How did that feel for you, being able to kind of step into this world with all these members of the French 75, all these people you might have known, might not have been actors? How does that help you feel the reality of this?
Honestly, when I sign on to do any project, I instantly become a warrior. I instantly put on my jersey, and I understand that we're all here to make a great project and a great movie. So it's really easy for me to get acclimated and fit in and become a team. And most importantly, I love to make my peers proud. I love to make, my family proud. I just love to make people proud, and I'm always just willing and ready to play ball. So it was easy, building with the French 75, building with my castmates, building with Cassandra. She's been so amazing, and yeah, it's easy for me to kind of like blend in those spaces where I get to be around people and love on people, and I love that. So yeah, it was definitely easy for me to dive right into that.
Yeah. Cassandra, how do you know, and how do you and Paul know together when you've got the right people, either making this family, making an organization, passing just a tiny role? How do you know when it's right?
I mean, I'm like, I call myself like almost a stalker. I like to watch you and follow you, and if you've done anything, I've seen it. And I just have an instinct at some point. Like, I will always talk about the scene when, Perfidia, after getting lockjawed in the bathroom, and her reaction when Leo touches her, Bob touches her, like she's there, but there's like a pain, but there's also like she's got a secret. It's a similar look that Chase has when she finds out that Bob's not actually her biological father. And I see the mother-daughter right there, and it's like I've studied them so much that I knew that was going to cross over at some point. I mean, I was like, this is 100% believable genetics, and I care about the DNA when I'm making a family. It makes me kind of crazy, because I also know stupid scientific rules I shouldn't know, and I'm like, you can't have that hair color, and it's like, it just gets me at some point. So I just knew, and when it comes to the other people that we find, I don't know, I can't describe it. Like with the nurse, she, no matter what I did, I couldn't flap her. I couldn't anything. She was just so committed. And then you throw her in with Leo, and I don't care. I mean, she works with jail prisoners all the time. It's like she's got nothing. She treats you like a prisoner. But like it's just there's something about that. Like, even the family that couldn't quite, the little boys who were like Billy Goats in the Wind. I mean, I went to their backyard. I pretended to shoot their father, and they were like running around trying to call for help. And and had the whole family in mayhem in their apartment. And I was like, these guys are up for anything. Like, and it ended up only being the two boys, but the whole family was ready to go. They were like, we love this. And I was like, they felt so real. And they just, once again, they didn't stare. They were like, I'm gonna act. They just were like, I was like, your dad got shot. What do you do? And they like ran to the phone. And I was like, exactly, okay. I mean, it's just when you've done it long enough, you kind of just do know. Like, I know when I see a warrior, and I know when I need a warrior, and I know when I have somebody who seems like they're a sweet, delicate flower, but will kick your ass if you mess with her. And like, that's kind of building the blocks.
Yeah. Leo, I want to ask about that nurse scene, because you're totally right that she's so unflappable, and I think some of the best comedy that Bob gets to do, you just bouncing off of these people who are on a different wavelength than where Bob is. What does that give to you when you're able to kind of interact with people in that way, and do you feel like it kind of heightens the comedy of what you're able to do in some of those scenes?
Yeah, I think a lot of the comedy just came from the writing and the circumstances that Paul put certainly my character in, which is, completely stoned, incapable father that's broken from this woman right here, that she left a wake of carnage of everyone in the story. And then, you know, he's living in heightened paranoia all the time that they're gonna come back for him. You know, I was thinking earlier, you know, the dailies really helped me in preparation for this, and I think it helped the entire cast and crew because, you know, Paul is incredibly inclusive. I think being a director can be, you know, kind of an isolationist job at times. You know, you're so specific about what you want to put on film, but for me as an actor, getting to see, you know, I didn't work with Sean, but getting to see Lockjaw's crew, this helicopter of formidable military, this presence that was coming to get my daughter. Just, you know, when we had those VistaVision, you know, early sort of screenings, I understood the urgency and what was at stake, you know. And all the comedy, all of that doesn't come from trying to push the comedy. It comes from the real life circumstances of, you know, the person he loves the most is you know, her life is at stake, and he's talking to fucked up customer service, you know, and people that he's smarter than, and all that just comes naturally from Paul's writing, really.
Yeah. Teyana,
At the same time, I have to just say one thing
Of
to
course.
Leo, because he won't say it for himself. But the writing is there, sure, fine, but you never did it the same way twice. And each time was so alive and in that moment. And you did build that character from ground up, and you made it look incredibly easy. And I watched you.
Teyana, I saw you nodding when he mentioned the dailies earlier in terms of, you know, building the character and figuring out the world. What did that give for you, being able to watch the dailies?
That was everything because we don't film in order. So when you get to see the dailies, you kind of get to understand, like, okay, yesterday's dailies, so this scene comes before this scene, and you know, everything kind of starts to make sense. And another thing we loved about the dailies is that Paul never kept a bad take. So that was your moment to be like, oh, Paul, I don't know, I really like that one, you know? And then he just go on and he was like, yeah, no, that's not making it. So by the time we seen it all come together, we knew like, oh wow, this is the take that was used, that was the take that was used. So it was the first time I've ever experienced being able to see the dailies, but it make you feel good about yourself. It make you feel like, you know, okay, we're getting it done. Or it's like watching tape. Again, I'm a sports girl, so I'll go back to sports. So you get to watch tape and say, okay, cool. I can go into this a little better, or, you know, this will make me emote better for tomorrow's scenes, you know? So those moments make sense. And he plays this like a soundtrack while he's
Johnny
playing the
Greenwood
dailies.
score.
You get the music, yeah, you get the whole score while you're watching the dailies. Shit. It's just like, you know, so it was dope. Like, it was dope. The first time I seen the yeah, music playing in the background. All you hear is, bitch, I feel like Tony Montana. So it's like so cool that we was able to watch that and have the music in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, what does the score give you? What do you learn about what the movie is when you get to hear that?
It just starts to feel like a movie. You get the tone, you get the pathos of what the movie is that you're watching. You understand what's at stake. I mean, when I saw the French 75 with Johnny Greenwood's score, I was like, damn, these are some badass mother effers.
You don't want to curse in front of your daughter.
Exactly, I'm still in character.
Chase, knowing that this is, you know, acting on film is so new to you, knowing that this, and the process of making a Paul Thomas Anderson movie is, as far as I know, not like other movies, but maybe you don't know that when you're going into that. So how is all this stuff that we're talking about helping you build this character, go on to set the next day knowing that you've got it and you can, you know, keep building this role?
Well, I remember from even before we started filming, I felt a strong sense of support from everybody who's on the stage and who's not on stage, the entire cast and crew. So I felt I already felt supported going into it, and I felt very secure with I guess my ability going into it, because I trusted myself and I knew that Paul trusted me, and I also wanted to make sure that I took care of Willa in the same way that would keep her as loved as she is. But I think that getting to see dailies and to watch as much as I can, I really took every opportunity to kind of just observe, because I was like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and also this is my first time doing it, so I was gonna absorb everything that I could and ask as many questions as I could. But like getting to watch dailies, I remember after a long day of shooting, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go and watch it and just see what everybody else was doing, even if I wasn't in that day, because it was the coolest thing possible.
Yeah. We have to get used to watching dailies because it doesn't really feel like a movie, right? We're all used to watching movies and you see that version like, wait a second, it's not there yet. It's a learning curve, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of funny though, because you would sit and, or at least for me, I would like sit there and I'd be like, oh, wow, we're making a movie. But then I really didn't understand the scale of making a movie. But I'd be like, but that feels like it's a movie. And it's not even like been put together yet. But it was, I don't know, I thought it was really cool.
Sounds really cool.
I think Paul definitely spoiled us with dailies. Because now I'd be like, can I see the dailies? They'd be like, ma'am, no. Go on, get them. So, he definitely spoiled us with being able to see the dailies for sure.
Cassandra's he's spoiling the actor, letting them see the
The truth
dailies.
is, not everyone wants to see the dailies, and no one is forced to see the dailies. People are invited, and they can come. And there are times, too, there's certain things Paul doesn't maybe want everyone to see. It's also an organic process, but yeah, no, most people do not want the actors watching the dailies because they do get in their heads sometimes. But this is a different kind of experience because you know that like we might do it again and again and again. We shoot scenes sometimes 2-3 times and we both kind of learn from watching them. I mean, that's all built into part of his process. And I mean, we go to your town and we build the dailies room wherever we are. It's really quite funny. Like places that don't even have movie theaters. There's now a movie theater like you don't even know about that's right next to a club. Like if we had dailies too late, there was like a bar next door one place. It was like boom, boom, boom. And we were like, no, not this. We actually asked them to turn down the music one time and they did.
Wow.
Not the score you had in mind. So this is the first year that there is an Oscar for casting. There is a way that the and it does feel like more average moviegoers, more people in the industry are starting to understand casting and figure out what the process is. But Cassandra, what do you think is still kind of mysterious about your work? What are you still trying to help people understand about how it works?
Well, it is funny because even for the Academy, they want you to explain it, and you're just like, wow, I thought the Academy was made up of producers and directors and actors. What don't they know that we do? But it's true. Even sometimes directors, like Paul one time said to me, "Goes, I don't know what you do all day," and I was like, yeah, I know. I can tell. But it's funny because sometimes what takes me days or weeks to put together, he can go through in like 10 minutes. And that's why I always make that joke that he's like the plant in Little Shop of Horrors. He's like always wants to be fed, and I'm just like, I don't have anything right now. But it's exciting that people are beginning to understand that it's just not like actor hurting or something. I mean, I'm so sick of being asked like, who's a great actor who's like 30? Like, for what? Like, you just can't just like start listing and go to Google. Like, I really think about the role. I think about who's what, and I mean, I've been watching tons of things, and I've been reading tons of people. I mean, I know actors that most people don't know, and that's okay, that's good. I mean, you don't have to. I don't want my directors watching everything. I think it'll make you crazy if you watch all the stuff that I watch. I might be a little crazy myself, like what I do. But, like, I'm nonstop in the theater, watching movies, going to Broadway. Like, then when I get home, then I start streaming. It's like a 24/7 process. I actually don't sleep very much. I'm constantly watching stuff. And like right before I came here, I was watching a gazillion people read the same scene over and over again. That I was almost late. I was like, oh wait, I gotta put this down. Because you also get stuck in it, and you start making notes, and you know, to remember everyone and to try to find the right roles for everyone. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it's great that it's happening. I think that it's a really good group. It's a very varied group that's representing this year, and I mean, I can't wait to see what happens next. Yeah. I mean, it's weird to be the first, but at the same time, hopefully, this keeps growing and growing, and people start doing even better work because now they have something to strive for. I mean, you want incentive, right?
How about you guys as actors? Actors interact with casting and see how this process works. What do you think people don't get about how ensembles like this film are built, and how casting influences the work that you guys are able to do, and how the film can happen? Any of you?
I mean, there were moments where when we were in El Paso where you start to really communicate with the other actors, sometimes first-time actors who, you know, roughly knew what the scene was about. And like I said earlier, it gives you more clarity and more urgency. I mean, for me, this entire film was me just running forward constantly towards my daughter, but along the way, those interactions, I mean, they just bring more realism. We talk about the woman who was the corrections officer, and she was completely unflappable in the sense that I said, well, what if you had to get me out of prison? She goes, well, I wouldn't do that. Well, what if you knew somebody that was a family member like this guy, Sensei Carlos, that you knew? Well, that wouldn't happen. I would not, in any circumstances, do that. But if you had to, and what kind? She's well, I'd say that, you know, you'd have to go get some medical attention. And I said, well, how would you let me know that this is? Well, I'd say a word like, and hopefully you'd pick up on the word, but there's cameras all around here. Everyone's watching me. My job's at stake. All that reality just infuses itself into this scene, and you're like, this is real life, you know, because she was brought into that scene. It just made it really tactile.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming to talk about this film. Thank you guys for sitting down. Congratulations. One man left another, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, there you are. I think you went.
Thank you.